The final item or feature we're going to add to the page is a table. I'm going to place my cursor where I want my table to appear. And when I select the table icon, I want to select the table wizard. When I come across the table wizard, I want to be able to define the number of rows and columns that appear in the table. I do that by selecting the rows and column. After I have selected the number of rows and columns that I want displayed, I then change the width over here on the right-hand side from pixels, px, to percentage. I then add 100 in here in the field. This allows the table to now scale 100% of the width of the table, or the width of the screen. So no matter what size it is, it will scale proportionally. I do not need to enter in a height as it will adjust accordingly. The next thing I want to do is switch over to the accessibility tab, this last one. And I'm going to enter my headings. The heading is, next I want to select the accessibility tab. This tab allows me to be able to make my table accessible to screen readers. The first thing I want to do is add the number of header columns and rows to associate related data to that item. Headers are displayed on the table as an identifier to the content in the associated cells. They are displayed in bold to show a differentiation to the associated data. When we create a table, this will display. If I want to create a table that has the first row and the first column as identifying headers, I would select 1 and 1. When you're creating a table, you're usually using it as a tabular data format, meaning it came from something like an Excel spreadsheet. Usually the first row is an identifying number like name, email, address, things like that. So your first row is probably going to always be 1. The column, the first column that appears, is also unique typically, but in case you don't know, you can just change it to 0 and add it later. The caption is what connects the table to the actual, the caption field is a title that automatically connects the table to this caption. So if I want to enter in something like 2020 train schedule, it will appear with the table. It will also be read in conjunction with the table as individuals that use screen readers tab through their data. It will display on the page as well. The alignment section automatically aligns it to the top and in the center. If I want to change it to align to the left or right of the table, I can do that. Or if I want it to appear on the bottom, I can select that as well. The summary field is no longer needed, so you can skip that one. The last thing you want to do is select the associate cells with headers box. Once you do that, then the relationship will be created. I'm going to select the OK button and your table will be generated. As I place my cursor inside each of the cells to be able to add content, you will notice that as I do, the first row of the titles and the first column, the first row and the first column were set to be bold as they are headers. I can just tab to the next field and enter in my information. If I jump down to the next tab, you'll see that it is still bolded. And once I jump into this other column that has yet to be defined, it takes on a normal body file size, format size, text size. If I want to be able to modify the alignment of these, depending on what browser I'm using, in this case, I'm using Chrome, I can select the whole row or the whole column and change it, and they all appear. If I want to change the alignment or any item inside each of these cells to something, I can select the cell itself and change the alignment. In some browsers, I can select all of the items in a row and change them at once. If I wanted to change the alignment in any of these cells, I can just click in any of the cells and change the alignment. In certain browsers, I can be able to select a whole row and change that alignment as well. Not all browsers do that function. If I want to modify my table or the contents within my table at any point in time, I just right-click inside any of the cells, and I will get a drop-down that appears, and I can insert, delete, merge any of my rows or columns. I can also select the table properties at the bottom and access the table wizard once again if I need to make any adjustments. If I want to delete the table altogether, then I can select right-click outside of the border, and you'll notice that 3 drop-down appears. Delete table is one at the bottom. I can also right-click on the caption to do the same thing. You can also select the table icon at the bottom and choose any of these options once you've selected an item. They become active. Selecting these icons is the same as if you did a right click. Now that I'm done editing the content on my page, I want to exit the rich text editor and save my changes. So I'm going to select the accept button. You'll see my content within inside of this in-page editor. And I'm going to select the save icon up here at the top left of the screen. If I want to preview my changes and see anything on this page, I want to be able to select the preview tab. So I go from edit to preview mode. And once I'm in preview mode, I can see my content, check my hyperlinks to make sure everything goes where it needs to. And once I'm done, I can go back into the edit mode if I want to make any further changes.